Here we go. And welcome to episode 145 of the Pittsburgh Nerd. Sean.
I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says.
Hail to Pitt. Penn State sucks. That felt good. Words I never in my lifetime thought I would say. Congratulations to the 2021 Pittsburgh Panther football team on winning their first ever ACC championship.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Tears of joy were wept. Tears of joy.
Defense stepped up, man.
Like you were furiously texting me, like in the first quarter, particularly the first quarter. You were just like, I could feel the tension. And it was like I was tense too but I knew, like the thing I knew was like all I needed was Pitt's defensive line to show up.
Right.
Like, the second that defensive line showed up and they started putting pressure on Hartman, I knew Pitt had the game.
Yeah.
You know, because you could see him like he wasn't used to getting pressure. He was getting rattled. He was being held in the pocket. He was getting hit. Like, these are things that he didn't like, you know. And, like, the second that defensive line showed up in the second quarter, like, that ball game changed.
Yeah.
You know, like.
It did.
Wake Forest racked up 21 points in the first quarter and didn't score a single point after that.
Right. It's good defensive football.
Yeah, I mean, and it was all of a sudden, like, Pitt's defensive line showed up, got to the quarterback, made him uncomfortable. And he's the type of quarterback that doesn't react well to pressure, you could tell. And, like, at the end of that game, he had a 1,000-yard stare.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, like, he was just like, it might as well have been like, you know, it's a horrible term. It might as well have been like Vietnam to him. You know, like, I mean, that's how beat up he was. I mean, the 4 interceptions, like, everything that went into that was all because all of a sudden he had people around him that he did not like having around him.
No.
You know.
He was getting hit, though.
Oh, yeah, he took some shots.
Even non-sacks. You know what I mean? Like, he was getting hit.
There was that one, like, where they did that goofy, like, that muddle, like, handoff thing. But then, like, so he faked the handoff. He, like, held it there for a second. Then he pulled it down. He decided he was going to run, and he took a shot.
Yeah.
Like number 8 hit him square in the chest and drove him straight to the ground. And I was just like even I was like, oh, like, you know, and like he wasn't the same after that. Like, it was like you could tell he was like, I do not want to be here.
Right. Yeah, and Panthers were strong today on D.
Yeah.
I mean, Pickett was good, too.
Oh, yeah, Pickett played a good game.
Not taking anything away from him.
But Wake Forest defense played a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I thought, like, if Pitt can make, like, 3 stops.
Right.
Like, that was my thinking, was, like, all you need to do is just get 3, maybe 4 stops, and you win the game in, like, a high-scoring shootout. Like, Wake Forest defense had me scared for a little bit there. I was like, oh, man, I don't know. Wake's D is much better, playing much better than I've seen.
And they were playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't playing that bad.
No.
I mean, you got to think 14 points came off of interceptions pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
That second pick, though. That was a great run back on that first pick, though.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was going to do it. He just ran out of wind.
I thought he was going to Palomalo it. Remember that one in the
Yeah.
AFC Championship game against Baltimore? He like weaved all over the field.
Yeah, I don't think he had the legs for it at that point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Palomalo was a completely different breed of athlete.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that pick six was good.
Yeah.
It was fitting. I mean, I'm glad they won.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, it's like
It can throw, man.
He's gonna look good on Sundays.
Yeah. We're not gonna get him, but
you know what? Yep. Here's the thing. I've seen mock drafts right now that are saying that, because I think when you look at like quarterbacks, the guy from North Carolina is kind of like more highly sought after. He's more highly thought of for some reason. And I mean, and I watched him play. I watched Pitt play North Carolina. I could see why. He's a good quarterback. You know, the guy from Old Miss, people are also very high on. So like in the pantheon of things, like unless Pinkett like blows people away in on his pro day, because he's not going to throw at the combine.
Yeah.
So unless he does something spectacular on his pro day where people like step up and say, yeah, he's the guy. I can see him being like the third quarterback taken and maybe falling to the Steelers. Like I've seen some mock drafts where he's fallen to the Steelers at like, as a mid-first round draft pick.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, but that's definitely a we shall see situation.
Right. Well, we definitely need a Q.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I think Randolph was a bust.
Yeah, he's no good.
And I think that was when they didn't draft him. You know what I mean? I think that was the plan.
Well, I mean,
doesn't help that Roethlisberger doesn't even talk to him.
He was a second round draft pick. I mean, so like the expectation was that he'd be able to step in, but like I thought he showed 2 years ago, like he's not the guy. I didn't need like that game against Detroit to tell me that. I saw that 2 years ago when Myles Garrett was smacking him in the head with a helmet. Like, he lost a job to a guy named Duck.
Yeah, I know.
So like it's one of those things where like, I'm sorry, son, you're not suited to be an NFL quarterback. But right. You got to get one at some point. And
yeah.
Like I hear all this talk of like, well, Aaron Rodgers, maybe they'll go and get Russell Wilson. Like, they're not spending that kind of capital.
Yeah, and they're old.
They're not. Well, I mean, look, no, if you get Russell Wilson, like I hate Russell Wilson as a human being. He seems like a despicable person. But if you could get me Russell Wilson as my quarterback, I'd be a very happy camper, and the Steelers would be a Super Bowl contender.
You think?
He keeps Seattle relevant all by himself, and he has nothing around him. Nothing. Yeah. You put him with Deontay Johnson and Mapletron, and fucking Najee Harris is a running back. You give him a running game, Freiermuth at tight end. I mean, you give him weapons like he'd have in Pittsburgh. Yeah, they'd go. All of a sudden, they'd be like, like ridiculous. Like they'd be an odds on to the Super Bowl at that point.
Right.
Because you have all the other weapons there. I think the offensive line still needs some work. Yeah. But I mean, outside of that, like I think a quarterback like Russell Wilson with like his ability to move, you take some pressure off the offensive line by now like incorporating rollouts and shit like that into your offense.
Right.
The next thing you know, man, you're going from 7-9 or this season 8-1 probably to you're a 12-4 team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wilson still has the goods. Like he would be a good guy for another 5, 6, 7 years. Aaron Rodgers, you're going to get 3 more years out of max.
Right.
I like Aaron Rodgers, but not that much.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see. Who knows what they're going to do? I know they're going to get a quarterback. They have to get a quarterback. So.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say they want to get a veteran quarterback, but man, the price is going to be too high for a veteran. What do you give away to get Russell Wilson from Seattle?
Right.
Because apparently he wants out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the same with Aaron Rodgers. The talk is that Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. So, but it's what do you have to give up to bring them in? What's the price you're willing to pay? And 2 first-round draft picks for Russell Wilson, which is legitimate cost.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to pay that if I was the Steelers.
I agree, and I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know who they're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get somebody. It's weird the people we get on our teams as backups, though. I mean, it's just strange. Once greats, what I mean?
I've it's a funny thing of when Roethlisberger was younger, you had Charlie Batch, who was an established starter, with Detroit.
Uh-huh.
You felt comfortable him coming in and playing, even for an extended period of time. And then you had Byron Leftwich, who was an established starter, and you had playoff experience. You felt comfortable with him coming in. And then, as Ben got older, they got away from that because he didn't need that mentor guy.
Right.
So they went with younger backups. I think it started with Landry Jones. Landry Jones was that young backup that they had, and it was no, he's not that good. And they go and get Mason Rudolph, and he's not that good. And hey, we'll pick up Dewey Haskins. Well, he's busy playing on his phone pregame. It's it's that thing of you don't want to go and get somebody. You're not going to spend the high draft pick, even though Rudolph was a 2nd-round draft pick, but you're not going to go and spend the 1st-round draft pick on a backup quarterback to develop for the next 3 years behind Roethlisberger.
Yeah, because he's not going to learn anything from Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Ben's going to be I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. What the fuck are you doing? You're trying to replace me.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
Yeah, so I get it. And it's it's one of those things where if you go and you draft Kenny Pinkett, you have to go get a veteran backup. You have to bring up Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick. That's his name. Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
You have to go get a guy like that, a veteran guy who could sit behind him and teach him, or maybe even start the first half of the season like he did with Tua. I don't know, but you'd have to get that veteran guy who would be there again to guide. Be the mentor in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey. Good game.
Yeah, Pitt game was fantastic, and it's one of those things I feel bad for Wake Forest. I know it's an odd thing to say. But here's the reason why. Wake Forest is like Pitt. They're a perennial 6, 7, 8 win team, somewhere in that range normally. They're never going to be contending for a playoff spot. They're never going to be up there with Bama and Georgia. But this was like, especially for them, like this was the year Clemson's down. You know, Clemson's won the Atlantic Division in the ACC 6 years in a row.
Right.
You know, like nobody else has gone to the ACC championship game from that division except for Clemson. You know, it's been Clemson and then also ran in that ACC championship game. Pitt being one of them 4 years ago. And so this was the year like they finally break through. Clemson has a down year. You're able to get to that 10-win season. You know, this is a season of magic for Wake Forest, as it was for Pitt. 10 wins. They haven't done that since 1981. You know,
right.
And you know, you have two teams with like star quarterbacks who are, you know, throwing, you know, touchdowns left and right and breaking records and everything else. And I feel bad for them because it's like I feel confident Clemson will be right back to being Clemson again next year. You know, it's like one down year does not knock down the beast. And, you know, who knows when they'll be back again, you know?
Right.
And it's the same thing with Pitt. Like, I feel like this is a test for Pitt because it's like, this is great. 10 wins, 11 wins now. You're going to a New Year's Six bowl. Good chance you could win the New Year's Six bowl. Unlike when they won the Big East all those years ago and, like, you know, got served up to Utah as a sacrificial lamb. Like, this is like that rare time where, like, I feel like it doesn't matter who they play. It's a good matchup for them. And I feel like they could still win the game.
Yeah.
You know, is it going to be Oklahoma State or is it going to be Baylor? You know, whoever it's going to be, I feel like Pitt can win the game.
Yeah.
And I've never felt that way before. And now the question becomes next season, when Kenny Pickett's gone, when the 24 seniors are gone, you know, how good is the team next year?
Yeah.
You know, is it back to 6-6 or 7 wins, or you know, or can you put together another 9-10 win season and contend for the division again? You know, that's the question. Like, is this the start of the program being on the rise and being able to, like, be a top 15, top 10 program, or like a back to like in way like a way of prominence for Pitt, or is this a 1-year wonder and you're back to just mediocrity?
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's the problem. You know,
a lot of seniors.
It is, but like your hope is like they built towards this, and so the hope becomes like, okay, you built towards this moment, and you've won this moment, and now the hope is that you've continued building towards future moments. Like it wasn't just like we put it all together for 1 year.
Correct.
You know, because other programs have the same turnover. You know, you look at a team like Clemson, you look at a team like Alabama, you look at a team like Georgia. You know, they lose 10, 15 guys a year to the NFL draft.
Right.
And yet they're constantly in the top 4. You know,
right.
I'm not expecting to be in the top 4, but man, it'd be great to be a top 10 team.
Yeah, right.
You know, it'd be great to be like just talked about.
Right. Or seen.
Yeah. Like, you know, like Penn State has been all these years.
Yeah.
Like for years, Penn State was like that team. Like they weren't quite good enough to get into the top 4, but they were a top 10, top 15 team. They were always around. They were always part of the conversation. You always had to talk about them, like, hey, they could pull the upset against Ohio State and end up in the Big Ten championship game or some shit like that. Like that was always where Penn State's been. Even like even during like the suspension years, like Penn State was still like a talked about team. They were still a ranked team, believe it or not. Right. You know, that penalty didn't hurt them for some reason. And so it's just like you kind of hope that Pitt's kind of put themselves in a position where they can be in that talk. That right. would just make me happy. Like, you're not a dominant program. You're not a playoff contender, but man, you're right there in that top 10, top 15 ranking. You know, people talk about you every year, and you're not going to like the the Pinstripe Bowl. You're going to like those just below a New Year's Day bowl sometimes. Sometimes you get to the New Year's Day bowl, sometimes you don't, you know.
Yeah.
Those January 30th bowls.
Yeah, right.
You know. Those are the ones I'm talking about. The Holiday Bowl, the Cheez-It Bowl, you know, shit like that.
Right.
So. And last I saw that Jake Genso had a hat trick tonight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for Jake. They're playing in Vancouver tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
That was it a late one? Yeah, I guess it was a late one.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw they played in Edmonton on Wednesday. They lost that game. But, they were playing in, I guess that's like their Western Canadian trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can play Seattle. They usually they'll make like 2 trips to like the West Coast and like do one where it's like Western Canada, which I think will now include Seattle. And then they'll always do like a second trip to the West Coast for like Phoenix and LA and you know, San Jose, Colorado, those types of places.
Yeah, the 9:30, 10:30 games.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Those games that when you had cable, you're like, man, I want to stay up and watch this game, but I gotta get to bed. You know,
right.
You know, fuck.
Z's catch up with you.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
None. Just working.
Yeah.
Binged Lost in Space.
Oh my god.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I have, yes. I was an emotional puddle during that finale.
I know.
If it's only 3 seasons, but it's 3 fantastic seasons, and like the finale was so fucking good.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna like it. I mean, I figured you'd like it, but I didn't think. I thought maybe you think it'd be too cheesy.
No, not at all. Like I love because I don't want to spoil it, but I do because I want to discuss it with you.
Yeah, spoil it.
All right, well, I'm gonna spoil. Spoiler alert. You know, when Will was dying, and Robot, you know, like built a cocoon over him, and you know, and did the whole thing, and then when Will woke up, he kind of like, you know, went away like dust, which was like it was like the whole "We Are Groot" moment in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
You know, and like he's like, trust Will Robinson, and I was like, when he started turning to dust and like blowing away in the wind, I lost it. I had to pause the fucking TV show. I was weeping. I couldn't believe they did this.
Me neither. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Is happening? Yeah.
And then like when Will was like, well, he's part of me. Like he's done something. He's like, he's a part of me with the artificial heart. I'm like, oh my God, that's so sweet. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Like it was a nice thing, right?
Yeah. But they like just downloaded himself into a fucking heart so he could take over Scar. I was like, fuck yes. I mean, I was all in. I was all in with that shit. And the way they come back to like, okay, this is why Robot changed. The kindness that I showed him changed him. And when Penny did the same thing with Sally, and like it was like, well, this changes everything.
Right.
You know, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was a phenomenal finale.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was like really well done in the way it like kind of incorporated going all the way back like the first episode.
Right.
And everything like I just thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, there were chase scenes, there was fucking, you know, robotic war scene, there was heartfelt stuff. I mean, it was good, dude.
It was.
Seeing him growing up, um, through the whole series, seeing the rise and fall of Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Um, that was a powerful speech that she gave at the end about him, the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, dude. I just like the robot.
Yeah.
I loved that technology. I liked how it was updated to that. You know what I mean? Like they didn't do a cyborg or anything like. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah.
That was the robot.
I just thought it was the series as a whole was just really, really well done.
It was, right?
It was. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what people were complaining about with this show, like especially the first season, like, oh, it's kind of boring. I'm like, no, it's far from boring in my opinion. This is just good storytelling. It takes you to the second season, which is a bit more action packed, which leads to the third season, which is nothing more than an action movie. But
right, the whole movie.
Right, but it took the first season, you had to develop these characters and understand what they were. So by the time you got to the third season, you saw that character growth. I mean, all these characters grew.
Right.
Even the parents.
Right.
I mean, there's that scene like where they're in the chariot, and and the dad looks at the mom and is like, I saw there's an Italian restaurant we need to try. Like they're in the middle of like chaos and danger, and he's like trying to make a date with his wife.
Right.
Because he's trying to distract her. Like I get the distraction thing, that's what John does, but it's still like he wouldn't have done that in season 1 for her.
No, not at all.
Like you could see their bond grow stronger through each season.
Right.
Which is great. Like, I mean, you never see that kind of character development. You very rarely see that kind of character development. And especially in like even Dawn West's character develops. Like, and I like Dawn. Like that character, like it starts out as like the slimy smuggler, and he ends up, being the heroics. He's Han Solo.
Right. Yeah.
In many ways, he's the Han Solo of the show. Like, it's so well done. I'm glad you watched. I'm glad I beat you down enough to get you to watch that show.
Yeah, it's a good show, dude.
It is.
Yeah, I like the whole Judy and her father thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment there I was like, is this guy sus? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
This guy, like, I get this guy, but I'm not really buying in. Like, he's like a little too Dr. Smith for me.
Yeah.
Like I had that feeling about him, but no, he turned out to be all right.
Yeah.
He just had to get knocked down a peg and realize what fucking century it was in. You know what I mean?
Like the scene where, Judy reconnects the autopilot on him. It's like, yeah, I trust my mother more than I trust you.
Right.
That was a great moment.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's stuff like, I mean, it's a very well done show. And like, I like the ending of it. I like the way it all tied together. I like the Thanksgiving dinner. I like the fact that Will wouldn't be able to sit still. That like Will was like,
right.
Okay, I'm gonna go explore the world. I'm gonna go explore the universe now. Me and the robot.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Right.
Like I like that. I like that ending. Like it worked for me.
Well, it made sense, right?
Yeah. Like the scared little child who was afraid to leave the Jupiter.
Yeah.
Who was afraid to go up at to go get stuff in the mountains with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Now is like, yeah, me and the robot are gonna go exploring. We're gonna find strange new worlds. Chart them. That's a
Yeah,
fantastic.
what was cool is he turned out to be a genius, which was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or a great thinker. I wouldn't say genius, but he was.
Yeah.
You know, when they thought he could do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he was always the underdog.
Yeah.
Even with the robot.
He was one who's going to have him left behind.
What's that?
Like, you know, because I mean, like Maureen paid somebody to fake his scores.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know,
yeah.
He was the one who was going to, you know, if things had gone the wrong way, it would have been all his fault that they didn't leave the Earth.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it, and so his character, like all of them, like all Judy, Penny, like all of them have a great character art. Like, it's just such a well done show.
Yeah, I thought so too. I love the Oreos behind the back moment too.
Yeah.
Fucking it was really good.
That poor kid.
No, but that's really good.
It was. I agree.
Yeah,
it was like
it was just chock full of moments.
Yeah.
Without being like without being too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Like they were subtly put in, and the important parts were emphasized. It was just a good roundup.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. Like, I just, you know.
Yeah.
It's sad. Because you don't want to see it end.
Right. I don't. You're right. That's the thing that bums me out. I think this show is over. It's only got 3 seasons. That's the disappointment. Like, I feel like as a part of me is like, well, man, this was a nice, tidy little 3 seasons. It didn't get strung out. It didn't go too long. And I feel like I'm right about that. But I also feel like, man, if you could have gotten like 2 more out of it, if you could have found a way to get 2 more out of it, that would have been phenomenal too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, there was just so much action in this one.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people said that, you know, it was boring and everything like that. I thought it was actually really good storyline.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that the Lost in Space with Lacey Chabert and all that, you know, that whole thing, you know, although that movie did have good moments, but I thought it was far enough behind to where they could start fresh or something,
right?
You know,
and I mean, and it's completely different from that movie, and I mean,
yeah,
it's completely different from the TV show.
Yeah,
like in all honesty, like the only thing they hold in common is like just some of the names and
the idea.
And the idea, like the basic idea. Like, I mean, it's completely different, you know, but in a good way. But it's still like it paid a lot of homage to that original show.
Yeah.
You know.
It did.
But it's just, you can't have those characters like. I think that was part of the failure of the movie, is like they tried to update it and they still did it in a cliched way.
Yeah.
Whereas like this was updated and it didn't feel cliched at all. All these people felt real.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know.
Well, I think that they included all their faults, and that was a big thing with this show. Is everybody had their issues, dude. You know what I mean? Which made it more human.
Judy's a super smart one that can do damn near anything, but she doubts everything that she can do.
Right, exactly.
You know, and you know,
Will never think it's good enough for anything.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
they all have issues and problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think but that makes it more realistic.
Yeah.
Because those are traits that people have.
Right.
I mean, anybody that watches the show can identify with one of these characters.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, exactly. One. Yeah.
One of them is you. You know? Yeah. And I think that's what made this show so good.
I mean, it would have been easy to give, John and Maureen the perfect marriage, but you didn't.
Oh no, it's jacked.
Yeah. it was screwed from the start.
Yeah, and it was really bad in this one as well, where she was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'd rather fucking work on things than, you know what I mean?
So it was like this interesting dynamic. Like the beginning, like they were on the brink of divorce.
Yeah.
You know, and slowly that changed. You know, which is like, I mean, it's just a great show.
Yeah.
It really was. I can't stress that enough.
It was good.
It was.
Yeah, I'm glad it exists.
Yeah. That'll be one I want to come back to at some point and just like watch all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
You know.
I was glad to see Will grow too.
Yeah.
Like that change.
Yeah.
You know. I love that part too where they were walking. It was like, hey, you know, how about you just teach me how to shave? You know.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
That's a good moment.
It was a great moment.
Yeah. Pretty cool, dude.
Because there were 2 people at the beginning of the show. They were 2 people who had, like, John had no idea how to connect with Will.
Yeah, none.
Like Will was not his. Like, it was like, I don't know where. I know you've come from my loins, but I don't know where in my loins you came from, because you are nothing like me.
Right.
But at the end, by the end, they found the way to make that connection.
Well, I think they all reconnected with their father at the end. Yeah. And that's what I liked. Like, you know, he had been gone and there was a disconnect, and the only person he really connected with was Judy.
Yeah.
And but then they had a falling out. You know what I mean? Like, but I like at the end they all reconnected.
Yeah.
You know, because they were always close to their mom.
Yeah.
But they kind of reconnected with Dad. And even those relationships were strained as well.
Yeah.
Between the kids and the mother and stuff like that. But that's normal life.
Yeah.
You know, I like that part with the other daughter. What's her name?
Penny.
I like that part with Penny when the robot got impaled.
Yeah.
Remember when he got impaled and they're sitting there and she's telling him about these 2 guys?
Yeah.
And he's like, right. But the best part about that was the robot looking at each one of them, waiting for the response.
Yeah.
Like he was, and it's subtle, but you realize that he really understands what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he understands more than you think he does. Yeah. Because he's actually in the conversation without being in the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's actually listening to both sides and waiting for a reaction.
He's also seen everything that Penny's going through. And I think he's more interested in, like, okay, what is John's response going to be?
Right, exactly.
Like, you know, like as 2 humans, and he's her father, what is his response to this love triangle that she has going to be? I'm curious. You know, you know.
Yeah. Oh, when that fucking robot stabbed Will. Oh
yeah.
And he went red.
Yeah. Oh, like when he melted that one's face, like went like full like Jason Bourne, like up on the wall and like grabbed its face, pushed it down, like melted its face with like the glowing hand. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's on.
Serious.
Right? Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good, dude. So yeah, it was kind of upsetting to see that end.
Yeah.
But
I also watched. I think you watched the first part of this. Was they released the second part of Masters of the Universe Revelations.
No, I didn't see the second part.
Yes, it's on. But you watched the first part, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The second part's up. 4 episodes. 4 great episodes.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch it. Yeah,
I mean, like, it took some twists and turns. Like, I mean, it plays out like a 2-hour movie. I mean, they're half-hour episodes, so basically it's a 2-hour movie. Right. And it plays out beautifully.
That's good.
I was really impressed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm not a big He-Man fan, but
yeah, I like the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first season, the first part was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And they did the second part here, and the second part was like really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like where it went, and I like the story that it told, and I'm intrigued to see part 3.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Did you finish out Discovery?
No, I gotta watch the latest episode. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I knew there was. I'm sitting there after watching Lost in Space today.
And
I was just like, there's something I'm supposed to be watching. I can't think of what it is. Like, it just my mind. I was just like, so I started watching Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, okay.
I watched the first 2 episodes of that. I'm enjoying it.
Discovery's pretty good, man.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes were fantastic.
That second episode was like,
oh, killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
It is.
It's another show that has good writing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait till you see this next one.
Yeah, I gotta watch episode 3. I watched the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye.
Yeah, I did too. Pretty good.
I enjoyed the heck out of it. Like, I like it because it's completely different from everything else that they've done on Disney Plus.
Right.
And
it's a little grittier.
I mean, it's more street level, yeah. But I think the thing I've just always been a fan of Hawkeye.
Yeah, I know. I like the character, but I also like the actor. I like Renner.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I like Renner, but I've always liked the character of Hawkeye. And it's like this thing of like I like that this is like really even more than he already is, humanizing him.
Yeah.
Like, with the earpiece and everything, like, the hearing aid. Like, why are you losing your hearing? Oh, I don't know. And it shows like every explosion he was ever involved in.
Right. Yeah. Which makes it more human.
Yeah.
I started watching him too.
He's the one guy. He's the one guy of the Avengers. Like, everybody like makes fun of it. Like, he's this, once he runs out of arrows, he's fucking useless. But like, he's like the one guy, like even more than like Black Widow. He's the most human of them all.
Yeah.
Like even Black Widow, even though it's like she's like, she has no powers. But like the Red Room training like makes her like almost like superhuman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that close to being like, Captain America-ish, in my opinion. Whereas like with Hawkeye, like, he's just hot. He's just Clint.
Yeah.
He's just really good at what he does.
Right. He's really good, but I mean, he's mastered, martial arts to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, he has some abilities, but nothing like the rest of the guys.
No, like, I mean, if you gave me a fight between Batman and Hawkeye, I'm taking Batman.
Right.
There aren't many fights I would take Hawkeye in, but I like I the thing I like about him is just he's like the most human of them all, and he like, and I know Stork's gonna shit on me for saying this, but like I go back to the farm scene and like when he's having that moment with Linda Cardellini, and she's like, you don't have a suit of armor, you're not a god, and I need you to come home.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's like, it makes you feel something for that character, because I mean, that's why I think I like in the show is like, I just want him to go home.
Right.
Like of all those characters, I want him to be happy. You know?
Right. But I thought it was also very human, a very, non-godlike thing to go running like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And just be like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like, everything has been taken from me. And now you're going to pay.
Yeah. It's like I love that line. I love that line in Endgame where like the guy's like, why are you doing this to me? It's like, they got Thanos. You got me.
Yeah.
Like it makes like complete and total sense. Like Clinton Barton would lose his fucking mind if his family was taken from him like that.
Right, because that's how much he cares about his family.
And then, even that
that's
moment,
why it was so devastating to me when I thought that, when you first see it.
Oh yeah.
When you first see Endgame, it was devastating for me. It was very devastating because you didn't want to see either one of them die.
Yeah.
It was like, I kept saying to myself, they're going to figure it out. There has to be a way.
Yeah.
But there was no way. And she knew that too. She knew she had to go because of his love for his family.
Yeah.
That's why she went over. Not why. They were going to fight it out to see who fell first, I guess. But she knew him. You know what I mean?
He had something to fight for. She didn't.
That was one of the most upsetting things in fucking the entire series.
Yeah.
His face when she's gone.
Yeah.
It's like his only friend. Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she knows him better than anybody.
Yeah.
So
like
that was a rough.
That moment, like back, in Japan, when Widow finds him after he kills that guy, he's like, "Don't do this to me. Don't give me hope."
Right.
I can't deal with hope. He's a really good character. He's not the character from the comic books. And I love the character from the comic books. But I love this version of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's of all the Avengers, he's the most human.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. Yep, pretty neat.
Yeah.
Sorry. Beat. I could feel the vaccine working its way through me.
I can feel the hate flow.
Right.
So, I'm going to bring this article up just because I want to piss off Otter. Apparently, George R.R. Martin is not happy with HBO's direction for Game of Thrones after season 5.
And now it comes out.
Yeah.
It took him this long to voice his opinion.
Yeah.
About as long as it's taken him to write the book. I'm going to sit there and think on this for a while. 2 years later. Yeah, 3 years later, I'm not real happy about what I just saw 5 years ago. You know what I mean?
It's like this funny thing. If you're so pissed, I'd say, okay, you gave Dan Weiss and David Benioff the roadmap, the outline, essentially. This is how it all plays out at the end. This is what's supposed to happen. Fill in what you need to fill in, but this is steps A, B, C, and D. This is what you need to do. Maybe you should just finish the fucking books.
Right.
Honestly, this is you're pissed because somebody didn't follow the roadmap you gave them, but at the same time, you haven't finished the fucking roadmap. You know what I mean? How can you bitch and moan about this when, you ran out of source material?
Right.
And you're the one responsible for the source material.
Right. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Like if you had gotten the Winds of Winter out, and whatever the last book is, I can't remember. Like if you had gotten those books out, and then they didn't follow them, well then you'd have a beef. But you don't have a beef because you didn't finish the fucking books.
Right.
You're like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, someone's trying to read your mind, and they're doing the best they can, and then you say, I'm not real happy with that. Go fuck yourself.
I mean,
the only beef I really had was just last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Especially the last one.
Like, A Dance with Dragons was published in 2011. That's the last book.
Uh-huh.
The year the television series debuted.
Right.
So it's been 10 years since you've published another book. Since you've been writing The Winds of Winter for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, Stephen King laughs at you.
Right.
He puts out 1,700-page tomes every year. You can't complete 1 in 10.
Right.
Let alone 2. I mean, come on, man. And then this is the best part. So, the article where I have here, this is from comicbook.com, but the article goes on. It'll be interesting to see just how far Game of Thrones diverges from Martin's conclusion, though it may be sometime before fans get to see that. Martin's most recent mention of Winds of Winter on his website noted he's been working on writing the much-anticipated novel, but he also has a number of other projects that he's also working on, including editing 3 new wildcard books, sitting down with some amazing screenwriters and showrunners to create the 317 new Game of Thrones successor shows for HBO and HBO Max, serving as executive producer on various other television and film projects in various stages of development. Like, this clearly is not priority number 1.
Right.
Clearly, it's not priority number 1.
Right.
So you don't get the bitch. You're done.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
10 years to write 1 fucking book. You've been busy glad handing.
Right.
Oh.
Terrible.
Like if that was the only thing he was doing, if it was the only thing he was doing was, hey, I'm writing this book, I'm working really hard on it, I just, I don't know, I can't get it right. I get that. I'd say, okay, hey, you got a lot to live up to. But you're talking about like, I'm editing other shit, and I'm talking to screenwriters and producers, and I'm doing things. I ain't got time for your Winds of Winter. Well, then go fuck yourself.
Right. Just finish it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know what you've written all these so far. I mean, you got to know what's going on by now.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So.
All right, so one last thing I want to hit, and we'll wrap up because it's late and you're excuse me, I had a cough and I don't want to cough into the thing. You're clearly exhausted from your booster. Not to mention probably the day you've had, but So I saw an article about this is on Yahoo. It's apparently from the New York Times though. But movie theaters must urgently rethink the experience, study says. And it states about 49% of pre-pandemic moviegoers will no longer be buying tickets. Some of them, roughly 8%, have likely been lost forever. And to win back the rest, multiplex owners must urgently rethink pricing and customer perks in addition to focusing on coronavirus safety. So, one of the things that we've talked about over the past year and a half is will audiences come back? And I mean, from the sound of things here, people who consider themselves moviegoers are about half of them are saying, probably not.
Right.
Does that shock you? Is the numbers that high?
No, not really, because I went to a lot of movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And during the whole pandemic, I think I've seen 3 movies in the theater.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're talking to a person that, goes to the movies.
Yeah.
A family that goes to the movies.
Right.
Should I say?
Right.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So.
I think my number's about
so
the same. I think I've seen like 3.
Yeah, I've seen. I took the girls to go see Scooby-Doo, but we rented out the whole theater.
Right.
And then I saw Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Might be it. 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Kong versus Godzilla.
Mm.
And then No Time to Die. And Dune.
Yeah.
Those are my 3.
Yeah, and that's coming from us.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that they cite in that article, when I read it, was like concessions. Concession prices are outrageous. Like I agree with that to a certain extent. I mean, that's where movie theaters make their nut is off of concessions. Like I think they only get like 80% of ticket prices, but concessions are where they make their ends meet. But like they're to a certain extent they're right. Like I mean, popcorn is like for a large bucket, like $9.
Right.
And then you're paying another $6 for like a large drink.
Stadium prices.
Yeah. Beyond stadium prices in many ways. I mean, and like popcorn is like I get it. Like you're trying to make your money, but like I mean, a large bucket of popcorn with butter is probably costing you a grand total of $1.50, and you're charging me $8, $9, $10 for that.
Right, 900%.
Yeah, like the markup on it is like outrageous. And I'm not saying like you should be giving it to me for like $2. Like I get it. Yeah. I'm going to a movie theater. I'm going to pay a premium for something like that. But like just like everything in a movie theater though is like just like outrageously priced.
Mm-hmm.
And like I might start going back. Like I love seeing movies in like the IMAX screen, but like I may end up going back to Phoenix more, where you saw Ghostbusters, because like they give you like the deals like the bucket for the year.
Yeah.
Like you pay like $15 for like this bucket, and like it's like $5 refills on it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's good.
You
It's a good
bring
deal.
it back. Like it's like shit like that. Like that entices me to want to go back to that theater, despite the fact that they don't have an IMAX screen.
Right, but you're also paying $5 for the bucket. You're paying $5 for the ticket.
Yeah.
Because all their movies are $5.
Yeah.
So you're spending a max of, $12, $13 to see a film and have popcorn and a drink.
Right.
Versus going somewhere else.
Or like Carmike, like up in Monroeville, where I'm spending $20 for for the tickets for like, for two people.
Uh-huh.
If it's me, it's to $10 a ticket plus another 15 for popcorn and a drink.
Right.
So it's like $25 as compared to $10 or $15,
Right.
That's a $10 difference. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Like, but my initial investment of $15 for the bucket is worth it, because if I go see 10 movies throughout the year at that theater using that bucket, I've saved myself how much money?
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. It's worth the deal.
Yeah.
At least I think so.
Yeah, I agree. Like, but at the same time, like, I get, like, so like that's the thing. Like, if you're Carmike, if you're AMC, is that the route you have to take? Like, is it like what route? What do you have to do? Like, are you talking about like a rewards program, like a loyalty program for how many times you see a movie, how many times you get some popcorn, how many times you get a drink? Like, you get points and you can use those points for whatever. Do you go back to like the system where like you pay a monthly fee and you get to see so many movies in a month? Like,
right.
I join a club and it's like, I get 2 movies a month where I don't have to, that's what my monthly fee is getting me. Plus I get a discount on concessions.
Right. And I think the smart move would be the way, but to give like way discounted tickets, because you're not making any money off of it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like hope people get to the concessions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you're not making much off that ticket sale for that movie.
Let's face facts. Like, I always felt like the only reason the Dollar Theater in West Mifflin shut down was because the repairs were too much. Like, they let that thing go. They let that building go to shit, and it basically had to be completely redone. Because you go up to that movie theater on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, it was packed.
Every time.
Every time. Every Friday, Saturday night, that place was packed with people.
Yep.
Friday, Thursday, like in the evening, like if any evening, there was a good chance that there was a good crowd. But Friday and Saturdays, the place was packed. Because you were paying $1 a ticket, and then you could say to yourself, well, now I can condone spending the extra money for the concessions.
Right.
So what if the movie was already out on DVD? I'm just watching it in a movie theater now.
Right. It's funny. I miss the days of. I do miss the days of like getting the Post Gazette that day.
Oh yeah.
And flipping to the movie page, folding it like 3 times over so just the movies were exposed.
Yeah.
And then figuring out where we were going to go see a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Or actually calling the theater to find out the times.
Yeah.
Waiting. You know what I mean?
Phone. Yeah.
Yeah. I miss those days. I miss having that paper.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Showing at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
7:15.
Yeah.
I miss those days, dude. And each theater had its own like I don't want to say emblem. I don't know how to describe it. But each heading on the theater had its own print style.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
East Land,
I know exactly what you mean.
the You know what I mean? And then
Showcase Cinema
Casey,
East.
and the other showcases that we never knew were.
Yeah.
Like Showcase West.
Yeah.
And there was Showcase North too, I think, in North Hills.
Yeah, North Hills, like the West was out there, and like where the hell West Allegheny is. You know, I don't even fucking know.
We were just worried about East. You know, the Cheswick.
Yeah.
You know,
Dormont.
Yeah. Even the what do you call it down in Oakland? It's closed now. But...
The Beehive.
No, it wasn't the Beehive.
Not the Beehive.
Before the Beehive. Before that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called.
You know what I'm talking about.
The Royal or something like that.
Royal Oaks?
I think so, yeah. No, I think that was an Oakmont.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that was called.
Yeah.
If I can't remember the name of that. But anyway, that King's Court.
King's Court, I think is what. Yeah, I think that's right.
That's not from.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I miss that, dude. I miss going to the theater. Period.
Yeah.
And you know, when they opened up Lowe's down in Homestead, it was cool. It was extravagant, and it was, you know, to see it. You know, it kind of made it out like you were going into a 1925 theater. The colors and the big pillars and stuff like that. But that faded. I think that faded to a lot of people. I think that theater was in trouble before COVID.
Well, AMC was like, you know, they were on the brink of bankruptcy during COVID and shit. And it's like how really? Like your business model was that fucking bad?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Like the thing I hope, and like, you know, I know how this is gonna make me. I know it's gonna make me like a grumpy old man. I know it is, but like in a way, I just don't fucking care. Like I hope, like, movie theaters, and they're becoming that way a little bit. I can kind of ignore it to a certain extent because it's like the pre-show stuff. But like I hope like they don't become like baseball games where like you need 1,000 distractions to enjoy a baseball game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the only way, like when people, like I'm the type of person when I go to a baseball game, I want to watch the baseball game. Like I don't need 1,001 distractions. I don't need the Bucko crew to come out and shoot T-shirts into the stands or hot dogs or whatever the fuck else they're doing. I don't need goofy shit on the scoreboard. I don't need the pierogi race. You know, I just want to watch a fucking baseball game. You know, that's what I'm there for. When I go to a movie theater, like the stuff at the beginning, like when you're like if you get there early and like you're sitting through like the Maria Mundos or whatever the hell her name is, and all the shit that they're doing there, and like, and you know, hey, bring up this app and you can play this game on the, you see, you know, you put up a, you know, all shit like that. Like, I don't need that shit, you know?
Right.
And like, my concern is like, people need to be distracted in order to enjoy something for some reason. And so like the movie going experience becomes like even more goofy. Like there's shit in the like the lobby, there's goofiness going on. There's, you know, shit for your phone to interact with. And like, I don't need any of that. I want to get in line. I want to get my snacks. I want to get into my theater and get in my seat so I can sit down and enjoy the movie, you know? And like, my concern is the 49% of people who are talking about this, like, I'm not going to go back to a movie theater. Like, this is like what they're talking about. It's like, I need these distractions.
Yeah.
You know, like, why can't you just like get some popcorn, maybe get some candy, get yourself an icy, sit down and enjoy a movie.
Right.
What do I need all this other shit for? In
Right,
all
why?
honesty, one of the reasons I go to a movie is to get away from my phone.
Right.
That's 2 hours of my phone being put away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. All right, then. Anything to add to proceedings there, sir?
No, man, that's it.
All right. Well, remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send us an email, and we'll read it if it's appropriate, or we'll just edit out the inappropriate stuff and read the good stuff. That email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. Love to hear from you. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find. And we are a member of a number of podcasting networks. We are on the Podbreed Network, the Tangent Bound Network, and the Weeby Geeks Network. I do that in order. Why is that? And just give them a Google search, you can find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, not lastly, we also want to remind you that next week, on the 11th, we're going to be at the Nerd Corner. Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you there. Hope you can stop in. I'll get there around 4:30. We plan to record somewhere around 5 o'clock, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So stop on in. We hope to see you. That's on next week on the 11th. So I'll try posting reminders.
Yeah.
And again, as always, I want to thank you, the listener, for checking us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough. And if I gotta throw this in there. If you are one of our foreign listeners, particularly if you're somebody in France, this bothers me. I want to know who you French people are that are listening to this show. Please let me know. Like, I look at our numbers and obviously the United States is like 89% of our listenership, but then there's like French. And it's a lot of people, and I'm not saying a lot of people, but a lot of our listens are in France. And I'd like to know who you are. It's just sheer curiosity. Like, are we the Jerry Lewis of podcasting?
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
If you're in any country, I'd love to know. I love to know, and I'd love to know how you found us. That is a curious point for me. I'd love to know who you are, where you're from, and why you listen. So reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.